Welcome back to my page, Money Making Juggernaut. I'm your host, Eric Richardson, the #1 educator in the asset recovery business. Today, we have a success story. I am here with Andre and Matthew. They've been having some great results, and we're going to hear about all of the success that they've had. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the last time that I saw you guys, we did the in-person training out there in Chicago, and it was great. I was with Andre for about a week, helping him set up his account. And one of the words that you mentioned, Andre, was, this was an abundance of knowledge. It was like drinking from a hose, a water hose. It was just so much information.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now, months past that, how are you with that information? Have you retained it? Is stuff still, a little new, or how are you feeling?
I feel like, and I was explaining this to someone the other day, but I didn't want to give them the full picture because they wasn't in the business. But
Hmm.
like I explained to them is that there needs to be someone to police people on the internet in regards to the YouTube, because I was suspicious of doing this at first because of how much it was and the fact that I didn't know what I was going to get exactly for it. But when I say that I've never invested in something that I felt like I got too much for what I paid for. This is definitely that. I feel like, this should have cost me a lot more, and I feel like what I'm getting and what I continuously get and the response I get, I can't believe is real.
Hmm.
It's like living a surreal life. And, it's almost like you partner with me and Matthew in our business to make sure that our success was part of your success. And I mean, I can't, say I appreciate you enough. I know I don't text you a lot because I know you're busy, but I just want to say I appreciate you. And at this point, I feel like I'm at a B plus, and I think that I could get to A plus if I just apply myself more, not you applying yourself in our business. You've given me enough to take it to the moon, and we've taken off from here. And I mean, it's just a matter of us now just dialing it in, and you're continuously helping us tweak the business to the point that where I feel so comfortable to where I'm actually not worried about anything at all whatsoever.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I appreciate you guys. You guys have taken action, and that's why I do tend to you guys the way that I do, because you're not wasting my time. I'm able to give you guys the steps, and you guys take it and fly. And that's why you guys are closing deals. So let's talk about how many deals that you guys have in the pipeline. I know we just got paid out on one in Illinois. So let's go ahead and share with the viewers about how that process worked.
Being our first deal, we knew there was going to be a learning curve. Even though Master Sensei Eric taught us everything. Once those training wheels were off, we knew we were on our own, and we knew there was going to be some some learning curve to it, which we learned from. So that deal actually came about. I believe, Andre, correct me if I'm wrong, but that deal actually came about via email, right? Where we initially sent an email and then he responded, and then we took it from there and then started talking to the client. Went back and forth, signed the contract like within 24 hours. And then within those period when the attorney was working on it, we made sure that we kept in touch with him, just to kind of give him updates, so he's not restless. Because even though we make contact with clients or potential clients, there's still a level of skepticism that comes with this business. And you always constantly and consistently have to reassure people. So the first step, I think, in this client specifically was we gained his trust right off the bat. And that made it easier for us to communicate with him as the deal went on. There were some wrinkles in it, in terms of Andrea and I didn't really do our due diligence on the search to know that his wife was also on that deed. So that profit got cut in half because she went with somebody else. The ex-husband went with somebody else. So that was a learning curve there for us, but I think we're much better for it. I'm actually happy that happened on that first deal because it became a checkoff point for us moving forward. It became something that we needed to talk through, ask questions of every single client we get now. What's your status? All this kind of stuff. You're still legally married, you're separated, you're divorced. So it's really good to understand the client situation first, rather than us thinking about how much money we're going to make off that deal. Understanding the client, puts us on the same level with them, on the same page. It humanizes everything, humanizes the steps. So that's what we did with this first client. We took him as a relative, right? Had conversations with him and was able to push him to the finish line. Even with all the delays that happened, we were still able to communicate with him and he was okay with that.
And you made two good points, Matthew. You mentioned that there's still a trust factor that you need to build, even when you have that initial conversation with them, or maybe even get an attorney involved. You guys were still following up, touching base with him so that he could have that assurance. So, for those who are watching, make sure you guys do that because I've literally seen clients get an attorney, the client files the claim with the attorney and then last second pull out, like motion filed and everything, and pull out because the company was not communicating with them. So don't think that, hey, I got the attorney, I got them signed, I'm good. You still need to have communication with the client. And then the last thing that you mentioned is now you guys, since you went through that first deal and you learned, okay, now we have those verifying questions, now you know moving forward. So it was so good that you guys got that out the way first. Now you have the proper protocol. You're going to ask those verifying questions. So that way you're prepared and you can close probably a little bit faster moving forward.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I would also like to say too, and I know it's a lot of people, Eric, that's working this business, the way they're gonna work it, but I don't think we could have worked it a better way considering that me and Matthew we're already running multiple different businesses.
Hmm.
So, but with us coming together and unity on this and kind of strategizing from the areas that I can handle and that he can handle,
Yep.
it's a good balance. And I have another partner of mine that's I know that started in the business. And when you have the partnerships like with you and I have with Matthew, I think that those things are very, very critical for you to scale up in this business. And we always talk about success, but me and Matthew, we're looking to scale up. And I don't think that, you can talk scale up unless you're dealing with the process like Eric has. Nobody has a process on the internet nowhere. I've been looking over the last 10 or 15 years in
Mm.
this industry, and it's nothing like it nowhere. I mean, people
Yeah.
talk to me and I just laugh at them because they're doing things antiquated and outdated, but the Eric processes are always top notch and to the point of technology. And I like that part of it.
If I can add to that real quickly, Eric, Andre mentioned partnership, but there's no real partnership without trust, right? And I think, we trust your process. And well, it's not your process anymore, it's our process now, right? So we trust our process, the one that you've ingrained in our brains for all these weeks and months. And the fact that even though we paid a fee, just piggyback off what Andre was saying earlier, even though we paid a fee for these, I second that we didn't pay enough, to be honest. We got more for our buck,
Mm.
right? And the fact that we can still call you, text you, even months after the course was over, that to me, that's not just partnership. That's trust.
Yeah,
So again, I want to give you your flowers, Eric. I know we're men; we don't usually give each other
Absolutely.
flowers, but
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a bouquet of flowers, my man. Yeah, I'm diving deep into this. You and I have had conversations. I don't think people understand where I want to take this business.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great. I can guarantee that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you guys, thank you for that. You guys are definitely going to do awesome because, to be honest, you've had success in a state where most people don't even know about and think it's extremely difficult. Like, I've been in the surplus funds business since 2018, and I've heard other instructors say, stay away from Illinois, stay away from Illinois, don't work Illinois. And it's just funny to me. And to be honest, up until I came to Chicago, I only did one deal in Illinois and I wasn't really even interested. And then when Andre signed up somebody else, I went there and I'm like, okay, let me crack this code and really figure it out because my methods and systems for marketing can apply anywhere. We just need to really figure out, okay, where's the sale results? Where are they hiding the documents? Because as you know, in Illinois, it's not public. You have to go in person to hop on those computers. So once I did that, I'm like, okay, this is simple. Boom, boom, boom. We know it. And you guys implemented it and you've been closing multiple deals. So kudos to you guys working a state that, a lot of people just think that it's just red taped and it's impossible to work.
I mean, it's a lot of work, but to your point, once you crack that code and you have your team together, you definitely need a team in Illinois. I don't think individually you can do it on your own.
Sure.
I think it's a lot difficult here, but I think with the right team, I think you can get it done here.
Yeah.
Both on the pre-foreclosure and foreclosure side, I think there's a lot of opportunities with the right team.
Yeah. So let's talk
Absolutely.
about the marketing strategy that you guys are doing. Yeah, of course you guys are two partners on this. How are you guys attacking your leads? What's been the best? You said the first one was email. What is the best system for you guys to communicate with clients?
I think the hidden gem, and I don't like giving up the secret, but it's always being first to the party. And when I say first to the party, I'm saying that the pitch that I've been using that works, that's just lights out, is just, hey, your house was just sold at 12:30. I'm talking to you at 2 o'clock. We just left the courthouse.
Hmm.
I'm trying to get this thing done for you right away. And it don't get no better than that because they know they don't even know what the final sale was at this point because they so scared that they stand away from the courthouse. But I'm bringing the courthouse to them and
Hmm.
I'm letting them know, hey, I'm your guy because I sit in the courtroom all day, every day,
Yeah.
and that's what I do. And I haven't been to the courthouse, and it's just that and they say, how did you get this information? I say, because that's what we do. That's what we specialize in, making
Yeah.
sure that I get this information to you right away. I said, that's why we got to get on this right away. And usually that works and it gets the conversation started. And I think that me and Matthew at the point now, where we're looking at the numbers and we're getting the engagements. Now we're going to take it a little bit further and we're going to start tweaking that to get more engagements. But then now me and Matthew can get in on the backside with, making sure that we close out those engagements on the, sense of urgency is going to be the next step. And I think that, this process is just lovely because we're learning and earning at the same time. And I mean, it's cool.
To be honest, once you guys get a whole year under your belt, at that point, like you said, you're learning and earning. At that point, you guys are going to know everything. You're going to have all your systems down, definitely scale it up, work in a tremendous amount of states, and you guys are going to have huge success. So, with the marketing, go ahead and share with them just briefly about how that process looks for you guys, like your research team, what platform you use to market clients, and then how you guys are able to convert and close these deals.
So obviously, it starts every day with our VAs. Once the auction closes in the states that we're working, they scrub all the lists, the DNC, they identify the people on the DNC. So they do what they've been hired to do. They scrub the list, they put it in a CRM. They put an active campaign in that CRM for that day for both the primary client and also their relatives.
Hmm.
And shortly after that, mid-afternoon, maybe like around 2:30 p.m. Central Time on our side, we see the text message campaign go out to the potential clients that we can send those text message campaigns to. They go out, and then you start seeing responses trickling. Who is this? Go away! Bad language, scammer. You get everything, but you have to obviously you know what you're after. You know it's real, so you have to now figure out how you now your next communication after they call you names is the most critical one
Yeah.
because that communication is either going to put their mind at ease so they continue talking to you or turn them off totally and they confirm in their mind that you are indeed a scammer, right? So you always have to find that balance. So once we make that initial contact, then in the late evening we follow up again with a phone call campaign through the CRM, Access Elite CRM that we use for this business. We follow up with phone calls in the evenings and call everybody that is in that dialer that we can call that day. One thing that I've noticed a lot is we may not get a lot of engagement with those phone calls that day,
Hmm.
but the next day, 2, 3 days later, even a week later, you will just see your phone buzz and somebody says, "Hey, I want to talk now. Do you guys have time?" And then you call them. So I said that to say for people not to be discouraged, because you could make 500 phone calls, 200 phone calls, and only talk to 10 people. But if you, out of those 10, if you convert two, you always look at conversion. Don't look at how many phone calls you're making. Get a cup of coffee, be relaxed, free your mind,
Yeah.
and just get to it. That's the campaign. That's the outreach.
Absolutely.
Because 90% of the people that you deal with in this business have no idea about surplus. If they happen to be a relative of somebody that has passed away, and now there's more, hey, what are you trying to do here? It has more layers to it. So you always need to understand who you're speaking to. Don't just run through a script. That there are times when you have to just listen for a little bit, because that moment allows you to give them a logical response, and you're not just staying to a script where they ask you a question on A and your response is about B, and they're like, "What's this guy talking about?" Right? So it's understanding those vibes and also just following through that system. Text message campaign goes out early afternoon, phone calls in the evenings. You respond to everything that comes through your message board. There will be text messages that will come through. Who is this? Who are you looking for? Wrong person. Stop calling me. So you're going to have to consistently make sure that you're in a place where those messages, when they send them, you can actually get them in real time.
And one thing I like to say about that too, Eric, is that I love about this business is that, in the beginning, you was straight forthcoming. You say, hey, you learn every component of it. You can manage the process and don't touch any of it. And that's what I love about it, because, it's so integrated to where me and Matthew already know that we can run this business from anywhere in the world, and we don't have to really be in the business, but we could be managing the business. Whether you doing other stuff or not, you can manage this business without, if you work a 9 to 5, and I'm saying this for people that work a 9 to 5, you can work this business if you work a 9 to 5 and don't have to worry about, your boss saying, hey, you moonlighting, because this business operates without you if you get it to a certain point where the structure that Eric has is in place. You got cold callers that you can utilize. You got VAs that you can utilize to answer your text messages. You have all of the resources that you need to run a real legitimate business that brings in income, but you just have to learn the process and get involved in it in the beginning so that it can understand it, so that you can run it in the future. That's the piece that's really sexy to me about this business.
Yeah, for sure, man. You guys hit everything right on the nail. My next question was going to be if there's any advice that you guys would give somebody new in this business, what would it be? But man, you guys just dropped so many gems and shared your experiences. But how has your experience been with the Excess Elite CRM? Because I know that's basically what you guys use to market. It's what I use too, and it's what I try to get people on the platform, because yes, it's technology and it can be a lot at the beginning. But once you hammer that down or just get your VAs in place, that system is how you can get in touch with people. Like there's people who tell me, "Oh, Eric, I made calls. I didn't get a hold of anybody." And I'm like, "Well, did you actually work the number correctly?" Because some people will respond in the CRM on the third text. Like imagine if you are manually texting somebody one time, of course you're not going to get any responses.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think people can read between the lines of everything we just said, but I think for me, the one advice I will give people that want to get into this business is, and I don't mean this to sound the way it's going to sound, if you're a lazy individual, this is not for you. Even if you have all the money in the world, this isn't for you,
Yeah,
because there's a level of you being vested in it, that you have to first run through, like we just said, the Excess Elite CRM. You have to understand how it works before you can bring somebody else in to work it for you,
absolutely.
right? Because when they get stuck and they text you, you want to be able to, whether you're busy somewhere, be able to give them the answer that they're looking for to be able to move forward. So again, it's extremely profitable, can be extremely profitable. You just need to, I tell Andre all the time, 3-4 hours a night, dedicate to it, and just go hard. Because at the end of those 3-4 hours, you have to also have the understanding that you may not get a deal and you may only get one.
Yeah.
And you could do that 4 weeks straight and still only get one deal.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the persistency. Again, this thing is a gold mine. I'm 1,000,000,000% invested in it. I'm like, you do the work, you get paid.
Yeah.
That's it.
And Matthew, to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying in regards to the excess elite, just bite it off in bite-sized pieces. Don't bite it all off at once. And that's why you have to get involved in the process in the beginning so that you can understand that, it's 100% of excess elite, but guess what? 25% of it is where you're going to really flourish at. So you need to learn that 25%, and then you can start learning the other 75% if you choose to. But, the key metrics to it, like making it an opportunity, making sure your automation is set up properly, making sure that your text message campaigns is, properly going out to the right messaging to the right states and counties. Those nuances are what you in the process of tweaking in that time frame, learning. But as you're learning it, you're also earning on the other side of it. So just take it slow, and as it grow, you'll start feeling more competent to stretch out and utilize that thing, because there's parts of that excess elite that I know exist that I didn't saw Eric dive into, where I say I'm not touching that, because right now, that right there, I know if I go in that direction, it's gonna pull me away from what I'm doing here. But the reality to it is that thing has so much power to it in the background to where you could fly to the moon with it. And I'm looking forward to getting that other 75%. That's my goal.
Exactly. Like that system is insane, to be honest with you. And to think we're only using it like 20%, 30% of its capabilities is scary, because you can send all your contracts from there, all your paperwork can be sent directly to email. You can do email campaigns, you can separate DNCs from people that are not on DNC. You can have whatever campaign you want to have. You can structure it how you want to structure it. And I love the CRM, because even working with our VAs, we're finding out that within the structure of that CRM, we can also personalize certain parts of it to what we want it to do. That sets our business apart from 300 people that are already in that CRM using it for the same business. So it's very unique. I don't think there's anything like it out there. I love it.
Thank you guys so much. You guys have shared a lot of gems and hopefully inspired a lot of the viewers to go out there, take action, and close deals. So thank you so much, Andre and Matthew, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.